All right. So I love rules as written. I didn't growing up. I grew up doing whatever I wanted with games, in particular D&D. I might have read it thoroughly as a child. I might have known what I was reading. It might have been over my head, but dude, I just played it the way I enjoyed playing it with my friends. And okay, that's a little about my history. Um, and I love the idea of rules as written gaming, playing a game the way it's written, the way it's designed. And I generally attempt to do that thoroughly with any game, role playing, tabletop sports, board gaming, war gaming, right? Hopefully, I have an opportunity to do that and discover that experience before I inevitably do the next thing, which is mod or tweak them. Okay, so the idea that a game being modded or tweaked is because the game design is imperfect. Well, that's true and false. One reason I like tabletop games is I can fix something I don't like. I can tweak something I don't like. I can make it a better thing. Is that because it was imperfect, or is that because that's how the designer designed it, right? Uh, I like rules as written, and there's only a handful of games ever that I have run consistently forever rules as written. And forever, I mean over the life of the time of the game that I enjoyed playing. Most of them you can run rules as written, and they will literally function as designed. They will give you the results as intended, and you can be happy with that, and you can take that to the bank. Game-winning drive football, app ball hockey, all of them work as written. They all work as designed. So why do we mod? Because we're smart, because we're creative, and because we want to create and sculpt the experience that we would like to have with the thing that we've invested our time and money in. And I think that's a good thing because not everybody creates a tabletop game, but we're all creative. And I've said this before, I feel closest to God when I'm creative. That's the thing I have in common is creating. That's where I am liberated. That is where I feel the closest to God himself is to create. We're all smart, we're all capable, but we're not all necessarily imaginative or creative on a large scale, like designing a game from top to bottom, etc. But I promise you, when you're sitting down to play a game that you love, you can't help halfway through it, everybody scratch their head and say, ooh, I could make a tackle chart for this. This would be, I would like to see tackles here. And voila, subscriber out there makes a tackle chart. He sends it to me. It inspires me to make a tackle chart, and we're sharing. The community is that much stronger. Instead of, what are you doing with a tackle chart? There's no tackle chart, Napa. Shame on you. No, that's not community. Community is saying, make a tackle chart. That's a great idea. Can I use your tackle chart? Can I? I'm inspired by your tackle chart. The whole story of the guy who supposedly stole Apple baseball as a child, created Outlaw Baseball out of modding and designing with his friends in a league. Again, if the story is accurate or so, I don't know, but we all as children did this with our brothers, our siblings. We tweaked, we created, we modded. To say don't, that's a problem because that's telling people not to be smart and creative and inspired. And I don't want to live in a world where we're not inspired, right? I don't. I don't want to live in a world where, again, there's right or wrong in how we do this thing. And I don't believe that's true. And I think 99% of us know better. 99% of us will see that comment and go, I'm still doing it the way I want to do it, right? Or maybe there's a percentage that again are adhering to a certain discipline in wanting to recreate as accurately as possible the 1989 Buffalo Bills season. And there's a challenge in that. There's a reward in that. And for those people who are really interested in that, during it and after it and at the end, they can look at that and say, wow, this was close. This is really rewarding for me. Um, my reward comes from playing. My reward comes from the excitement of the game itself. The fumble picked up and returned for a touchdown, the bomb to the corner touchdown, the matchup between the 0-3 Dolphins and the four, the 3-0 Patriots, and the Dolphins fight them tooth and nail to the end and pull it away on a fumble, strip sack fumble, and they pull it out. I'm doing it for the competition. I'm doing it for the experience of the game. Uh, and I don't begrudge those that are doing it for the accuracy of the game, right? So I don't think we mod because the game's imperfect. I think we mod because we're smart people and we're creative people and we are imaginative people and we're inspired by something. If I choose to mod Appbot, it's because I'm inspired by it. It's because I love it. It's because I want to sit with it, because I want to play it more. Notice I'm not making videos on other games because I'm not modding other games. And I'm not modding other games because I'm not playing those other games. There's been a handful of games that I've played raw for its existence. Grid Zone, I played raw for its existence. To me, Grid Zone needed nothing from me. I modded how I did the off-season charts when I created players for our league. I wanted more dynamism among all players, so I did not limit whether players could get 3 on a number or 2 on a number. So our league had a level of dynamism at every position, because there could be some positions that had a 3 where on the charts, they shouldn't have a 3. And it created a more dynamic and more interesting league that created slightly different results than Gary's game would normally do, based on Gary's hard and fast limitations on offensive linemen having a number or whatever. Some positions couldn't get a 3, right, or whatever. So I eliminated those. So I modded just the off-season player creation tables and did not use the limitations, right? So you could see players in my league that were rated higher than the charts allowed, right? So that was a mod, but it was a mod to the league that we were doing as a career mode that we used in Grid Zone. But Grid Zone itself, I never changed a lick. Heck, there were a couple things I was doing wrong in Grid Zone before somebody pointed out, you're not doing that quite right. And the game had worked beautifully doing it wrong for I don't know how many games. And then, of course, the logic behind the subtle way that, oh yeah, I see now why I need to roll it the way it's written, which I didn't do it purposely. I was doing it unconsciously. It does change slightly how the games, how results could occur. And you realize, oh wow, see, I didn't read carefully. But how I was doing it was working beautifully for Grid Zone, right? I honestly believed you couldn't break Grid Zone, right? And so I think that's something too. But yeah, we mod because it's ours. We invest our time and our money and our energy. And I don't owe anybody an explanation when I sit here in my den with my coffee and my lamp and my pencils and my notebook paper, crack my knuckles and say, let's see Marciano take on Joe Louis. And I want to see what I see. And um, I find, if I'm compelled to mod a game because I am not getting results that I think are accurate, I probably won't mod it. I will abandon it. So I didn't mod Appball because the results were poor. I modded Appball because the results are so fantastic. I wanted to streamline. I wanted to make it faster. I wanted to enjoy more of it. So the question should not be, why you modded a game because it's broke. The question should be, why are you modding the game? Oh, not because Appball football's broke, but because I want to enjoy it more, faster, simpler. And the results were so dang good with those cards that I just want to give more of it. If you ask me why did I change title bouts deck of cards, then my answer might be, well, because it wasn't quite creating and then most likely I'm probably going to abandon it for Legends of Boxing when it comes along, right? Or I'm going to abandon it for Glory Days Boxing when it comes along, because I must not. If I had to mod it because it ain't quite right, I'm probably going to abandon it at the first sign of another game that suits me more or is better. If better is a good term to use, I don't know. So you also, it shouldn't be a question of, oh, if they're modding it, it's broken. The question we say, well, first ask, why are you modding it? Oh, well, because the quarterbacks here never throw interceptions. Oh, that's a design problem. right? If I can tell you that I'm playing Appon, I've noticed on Joe Montana's card, he does not have any number in the game that can be intercepted. Okay, that's a misprint, most likely. That card is probably a misprint. They need to fix it. They need to send out an errata on that. But let's say, no, that's the card. It's designed. Ooh, then Appon's got a problem if Joe Montana 1984 cannot throw an interception anywhere in the game, then we got a problem, right? But that's not true, right? It's not true. So, but if I make those charts, my charts, and I don't get the numbers just right, yeah, there's a couple of sets. I actually own a set where a couple of quarterbacks couldn't throw an interception on one of my sets of charts. I did not have the proper range of numbers. So I played 3 or 4 games before it dawned on me that I had 2 quarterbacks in that season that would never throw an interception on my charts. Well, that's a problem. Bad charts. I had to start over, right? Because I didn't realize my 1956, 57, 59 sets. Well, there's numbers for interceptions there that don't exist when Steve Young throws 39 touchdowns and only 4 interceptions in a later Appa, right? On my charts, not on the Appa game. The Appa game doesn't have this problem. My charts were too restricted. So I had to modify the rules, or I had to modify my charts. So yeah, I modify my charts because they're not perfect, because they're broken. But we don't always modify games for that reason. We modify games hopefully to get more out of them, to enjoy more. I modify what I love because I want to play more of it. That's just a fact. I modify D&D to make it more comfortable for us as kids, to teach it to my friends, and to enjoy it as fast and as easy as possible as kids. Not, at some rules meant something to me, some didn't. I was too young to say, well, there's a reason that rule's there. As you grow up and you study rules, you say, oh, there's a reason we do that. Oh, okay, that's even better. I didn't know that. So it's yours. Do what works for you. But there's questions about modding, right? Modding it's not just arbitrary because it's a bad game or because there's something wrong with it. There's other reasons we mod, right? But hopefully we do it because we're trying to get more out of the thing that we enjoy, and because we are creative, we are smart, we are intelligent. And as Barney Fife says in one of my favorite sitcoms of all time, can you teach a bird? I sing. Can you teach a bird to just go chirp, chirp, chirp? No, man, Barney had to sing. He's a singer. You can't teach Barney to just go chirp, chirp, chirp. I mean, it's crazy. It's crazy. Uh, it's it's it is a vast and varied hobby with brilliant games, and more power to you. Mod away and enjoy away. And for those who love rules as written, like I do, but I rarely do it, right? I rarely find a game that I love so well, rules as written, that I probably don't need that I'll play it consistently. It depends on what I get from it. Apple inspired me. I enjoyed it so much, inspired me that it inspired me to mod it. And that's because I want to play more of it. Grid Zone, I still do, but I played literally for a handful of years, lots of games, and never felt compelled to change anything ever, not once. Only that I wanted it to create a more dynamic pool of rookies coming into the league that could actually create a more dynamic roster for results. That was a mod, but it was a mod on player creation for the career league, not the actual game of Grid Zone. Stone Cold Hockey, I think, functions without mods. Well, let's put it this way. Every game design functions without a necessary to be modded. I suppose in enough sample size, you might find there's a bug in a game, and then you're going to feel compelled to change it because it's broken. But I think that's rare. I think that's really rare. Yeah. I mean, hell, I found out I was playing Glory Days college football. I don't know how long I was playing that incorrectly, and I was loving the hell out of it and wasn't quite doing it right, but it worked. Glory Days did not suffer my ignorance. Do you see what I'm saying? Glory Days held together even with me not doing it right, right? And that is a sign of good game design. Can you break it? I mean, I could have played Glory Days college football broken for a long time, and it would never have dawned on me I was doing it wrong, and the games were fantastic. So that's a good thing, right? But yeah, I mean, we really mod because we want to play something we love more, and because we're smart people, we're creative people, and um you just can't hold a good man down, good woman down, right? You can't do it. But yeah, it's something that I love about tabletop game. I can't change I can't fix a broken computer game. When it crashes and locks up and I'm clicking away and the dang thing's locked up, I got to Control Alt Delete out. I don't know what did it. I can't fix it. That's horrible. That's horrible. But tabletop game, that is never going to happen because I can work around a problem that breaks the game, right? So modding is also a valuable thing, right, for tabletop gaming, right? Typos, Stump Mitchell, the 1982 Status Pro set, Stump Mitchell's got a typo in the card. Well, we all knew it was a typo and we adjusted it. We enjoyed it for a while and then we realized how it was corrupt. It was fun at first. And they're like, yeah, it's just not fun to have Stump Mitchell ripping off 8-yard runs on 11. It's just not supposed to happen. But it was fun and cute for a minute. And then you kind of wise up and say, oh yeah, we need to change Stump Mitchell's card. This is ridiculous, right? But we had fun with it as it was an exploit. We exploited it for a while, right? It became Bo Jackson in Tech Mobile, right? We all know that. And how fun is Tech Mobile? Well, it was fun, but after a while, you're like, I don't want to play this. It's broken. There's a magic play. And if there's a golden play in Madden, the minute you discover the golden play in Madden, how long do you play Madden? Before you either restrict yourself and say, I'm not allowed to call that play, or you literally crack it into a million pieces and throw it in the garbage and say, yeah, figures. That's exactly what it's that's so video games, we can come across the golden play. Every time I call fade in the 2008 action PC game with the Raiders, fade, I always complete it. Always. It seems like I'm right. Okay, there's somewhere in the data, there's a little bug there. Once you find that, you're like, oh, how many more of these things is right? So, and that's why I like the transparency of tabletop games, right? I can actually see when I roll this and I see this and I can see the transparency and go, oh, that's a problem, I've got subscribers that are pretty sharp. They spotted they can quickly spot the one problem with the 1958 set. Not a problem, it's designed that way. But on one drop of the dice, certain players can score from anywhere in the field, bang. And that's fun, but let's not kid ourselves. It sometimes feels cheap. Right? I love the 58 set. I'm playing a draft league with it, a fictional career draft league. And why? For the number one reason I'm playing 58 draft league because of that thing, right? Because of those ones. I feel like it's a little cheap. But when it's a K and I roll it a second time for Jim Brown and he gets that one, dude, that's Jim Brown, baby. I don't feel it's not cheap at all. It's confirmed. The K forces me to confirm Jim Brown getting the big run. I had to roll it twice. I had to hit the K and then I had to hit another one. And it really makes Jim Brown's value that much more interesting, that much more epic, as opposed to every time the 66 hits the table, touchdown. So you start thinking that's just, it's a little too powerful, right? OP, we call it overpowered, right? So anyway, I love these conversations, and I just saw Dave's great video this morning about somebody had commented on one of his channels about if you need to mod a game, it's a bad design, and Dave, of course, eloquently discusses this, and he always does. And I thought I've got to put in my 2 cents because I'm the king of the modders, right? I mean, you can't watch my channel and not go, what is he doing? Because that looks like Appa, but it ain't Appa. Well, you're right. It's Appa light. It's Appa, but it's Appa on a on an express level for what that's worth, right? So anyway, great conversation, and remember, enjoy what you're doing. Love what you're doing. It's yours. It's your time. It's your table. It's your game. You don't owe anybody any apologies, any explanations for why you do what you do. No one. No one.